Do you follow high school sports? The San Diego Union Tribune's free UT Preps app is the go-to source for your favorite high school sports teams. Get schedules, scores, standings, news, and more right on your phone. Follow your favorite high school team by sport. Share photos and videos right from the game. See rosters and player profiles complete with game-by-game statistics and receive push notifications for game updates. Don't miss any of the action at Oceanside, Chula Vista, Torrey Pines, and many more San Diego schools. Download the free UT Preps app on Google Play or the Apple App Store.
Welcome to the state playoff edition of the San Diego Prep Insider podcast. Tommy, Christian, Aaron here with you.
Hey guys.
Congratulations to everyone who...
We made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, yes. made it all the way. We made it to state, guys.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations. So before we get to state, we got to talk about the city championships, give out some game balls.
Let's go.
For what
Congrats
we saw
to all
last
the
week.
winners. Good job.
Congrats to everyone. Congrats to everyone who even made it to the finals.
Yes.
Awesome getting to play in a nice facility like that in Division 5. Still cool getting to play in San Marcos. So, Aaron, we'll start with you. Who are your game ball winners for the championship games?
All right, so for Division 5, my game ball is going to go to AJ Gates. The senior had went out on a high note locally. Derek Carter Hollinger is a close second, obviously, and then Thomas Solentino from Poise did a really good job for his team. For Division 4, I'm going to give the game ball to none other than Burke Twyman. Burke had a maestro of a performance and a very dominant win over Brawley. Division 3, got to give it to the football guy at Atoa Fox. Took over the second half of the game. He moves on to state. Congratulations to the seniors on Bonita Vista team. For Division 2, it's a toss-up, but I've got to give it to Ryan Langborg.
Oof.
Ryan had a really good game. Hit a big shot. That crazy Dipsy dude to seal the game. Alex Cho and Bruce Edwards were obviously close seconds because they all performed really well. And in Division 1, got to give it to Dakota Brown. The steal and dunk at halftime was just that's an insane play, and it kind of just set the tone for the rest of the game for what
You're gonna go with that over him crossing up
Eric Pierce
a la AI and Jordan in the All-Star game.
Yeah, because you don't see too many 5'10" guys get off a monster dunk in a state CI championship game.
Fair enough.
And for the open division, why do we even need to discuss this? TJ Leaf, congratulations on an awesome career. You're going to move on to the state playoffs. You left us with a virtuoso performance in your final game in San Diego. Hats off to you.
Absolutely.
Anyone maybe that Aaron missed?
Yes, at the D5 level, I want to give my game ball to Coach Van Houten. Getting that championship before age 30 is big, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the school is.
Yeah.
And if he manages it correctly, staying in San Diego, we could be looking at a very, very dynamic coach for the next couple of decades if he chooses to stick around. I want to amend the Division 4 ball from Burke to just the entire Twyman family. Because his brother was out there putting some buckets away, and that's not something you see all the time as a brother combo winning a title together. Absolutely a Atoa Fox, and just all of Bonita Vista, athletically speaking, getting it done there in the second half. Because Madison was starting to run the court with them, and they hung with them, and then extended the lead. At the D2 level, as much as I love Langborg, and Langborg has been great to us all season long, I'll give it to Bruce. Bruce, that game ball is yours. The couple of dunks he threw down, which got Raymond Liu a little excited. But also there was one where he got a block, gets his own rebound on the block, takes it coast to coast for the layup. Yeah. Big time players, big time games. At the D1 level, I'm going to go Gianni Ortiz.
Okay.
He was draining threes and making shots. All of that team kind of served us up a big slice of humble pie. Congratulations, Kearney.
Good job.
And then at the D1, or the open division level, a couple of golden plated game balls for TJ Leaf going behind the back like a madman. But some of the young kids on Foothills maybe kind of knocking on the door for some of those game balls, like saying that they're
Jordan Starr played
Jordan Starr. If you had stuck the landing on that dunk, I'd give you the game ball. But you still got a little work to do on the grace there.
A note, too, on that one. Good send-off for Jordan Starr. That was his final game in San Diego after the state playoffs are over. His family's moving to Santa Clarita in June. His father got the head coaching job at the Masters College, NAI school.
Very cool.
Up in the area. So hats off to you, Jordan, for a great career in San Diego. We'll miss you. You're a great prospect. And we're going to hear a lot about you. But now our loss is Los Angeles' gain.
And you guys pretty much named me what I would have given a game ball to, so I don't feel like I need to dive into it. I'll give myself a game water bottle. Should be like sitting on the bench or something like that for not picking foothills. Missed. Swung and missed. It's okay.
Swung for the fences.
Swung for the fences.
Right.
Took a shot. Maybe next time. Anyway, moving on to the state playoffs, which everyone is thinking about right now. Anyway, we're going to start with Division 5. We're only going to pick the San Diego teams, because that's what we know. And the first game we're going to talk about is number 9, Bonita Vista, going to Capo Valley Christian. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to have to pick I'm going to have to pick the out-of-town team, Capo Valley Christian. The Capo Valley and Saddleback Valley Christian are two of the better Division 5 schools in the state. And they had some really good battles in Orange County. And I happened to see Capo Valley Christian. They've got a really solid team. Bonita Vista, you've made a really good run, and you're probably going to win this game just because I've picked against you all year. But I just think the firepower for Capo Valley is going to be a little bit too much.
Christian?
I'm going to take Bonita Vista. One thing I want to say before we get into all of these matchups is that maybe the seeding looks a little off. Some of the numbers a little funky of where the San Diego teams are in relation to where other sections teams got seeded. So some of these will look like upsets in the empirical category of a 9 beating an 8, a 14 beating a 2, or whatever. Some of these are not going to be upsets, though. Otoa Fox and this Bonita Vista team are incredibly athletic because they have these multi-sport athletes. So they're going to get their fair shot at this game, and I think they'll pull it out. Otoa Fox is going to need to be driving the lane, setting up the rest of his teammates. So it's going to come down to if they're going to have to make the shots. And I know that that sounds so basic. You got to score more than your opponent, but I think Bonita Vista has the athleticism to get the win.
I'm going to take Bonita Vista too. Another football guy, Quentin Harrison.
Yeah.
New to the school this year. Huge addition to their team, so I'm going to take them as well. We got to watch out for a couple guys at Capo Valley. And I want to mention this kid because he has probably the coolest name I've ever heard in my life. Spider Adunji.
Dude, Spider is a monster.
And his name is Spider.
He played for the OC Magic AAU team along with Luis Salgado, Otoa Fox, and Johnny Ortiz. They all played together during the summer. Athletic, 6'7". I want to say he's from Africa.
He's from Nigeria. They have another Nigerian as well, whose name is Amazon, which is very cool as well. Amazon
is Spider.
Yeah, Amazon and Spider. I mean, I don't know.
It's pretty scary, actually.
I know, it's frightening. But yeah, so I think Bonita Vista will be able to pull it off. I think it'll be a close game, though, and it should be because it's a 9-10 game, right? Or a 9-8 game, excuse me. Moving on to the next game, Division 5. Christian, we'll start with you. It's O'Farrell going to Rancho Christian.
This is going to be a big uphill battle for O'Farrell. I feel bad picking against any of these teams because you've all made it to the state playoffs, and that's an amazing feat in and of itself. If O'Farrell wants to win this one, it's going to require them to simplify their game a lot. The D5 championship, I know it went into triple overtime, but there was 57 fouls between the two teams, and you can't be hack-a-shacking early on if you want to win this game. I think probably Rancho Christian, but if O'Farrell can just simplify, they can have a shot.
I'm going to take Rancho Christian. I think they have a chance to win this bracket, actually. I saw them play when they're here for the Under Armour tournament at Escondido. I saw them beat Morris.
Yeah.
Very good team. And I believe Jamal Browner was sick that game as well.
Yes.
And he still played really well. And then they have the freshman who you're going to talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to take Rancho Christian.
I'm going to take the Eagles as well. The Eagles have a freshman by the name of Isaiah Mobley, who arguably is one of the top 5 prospects on the West Coast in that class. UCLA's also already offered. 6'7", really versatile, inside-out guy, very good player. Trace Redfield, a senior, a bully of a guard at 6'1", 6'2", and he looks like he's just all he did was just lift during the summertime. They don't have answers for those two guys, and we throw in Brower, some of the other guys, Greg Carter, they just have way too many weapons for an O'Farrell team that's had an excellent season. Hats off to you guys, But like you said, Christian, that's an uphill climb for those guys.
But this in general could be a long-term shaping. Even if they lose this game, this could be a very big step in with the freshman class that they have right now, getting state, getting that taste.
Yeah.
It could be a big thing.
So our final game in Division 5, it's going to be Mission Vista traveling to Saddleback Valley Christian. I will start with this one. I will take Saddleback. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the home team will take this one. Aaron, what do you think?
Two names to remember from that Saddleback Valley Christian team: Trey Smith and Trey Mena. Trey Mena actually is from San Diego, grew up in the Santa Fe Christian schools, and then moved to Orange County right before high school. Really good shooter. I saw Trey Smith score the first 22 points for his team against a really good Temecula Valley team in a showcase in January. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on the court. It was like Temecula Valley 41, Trey Smith 22. And it's just like, wow. And I'm going to have to pick Saddleback Valley Christian in this one. Burke Twyman will give them fits, but I think that they have, again, it's just a lot of weapons for Mission Vista to deal with.
I'm going to take Mission Vista. You're sitting here talking about running away with something. They were up 22-9 or something like that on Brawley. And Brawley was the number 1 seed. So we're talking about a Mission Vista team that came into the championships and smacked a number 1 seed in the mouth. Burke Twyman didn't just get it done in close. He was shooting from 15 feet. He was making it. Other teammates were setting him up. They pumped the brakes a little bit on offense. They got in some bench players. I think very easily they could have been up 45-12 if they had kept the gas, the pedal to the metal. So
I forgot to also mention that Saddleback Valley Christian has a 6'10" center in the middle. That's a
and I'm not saying that this is going to be Mission Vista running away with it, but you're talking about Saddleback Valley College coming in and being able to run away with games. Mission Vista has that ability, so it'll be close game within 5 points, but I'll take Mission Vista getting that upset.
Davion Famber might be the coach of the year in San Diego CIF. I'm on record as saying that. Davion, we love you here, but I got to pick against you on that one.
All right, moving on to Division 4. We'll start with the 9-8. Christian, you're going to have this first pick. Rancho Mirage, traveling to El Camino.
It hurts me to have to say this because I am a huge fan of El Camino. We all picked El Camino, but I was very concerned with what we saw of them against Kearney. And I don't know if mentally, with the younger team that they have right now, if they're going to be able to bounce back from a loss like that in the state playoffs. I know that their coach is going to do everything he can to have them in the right spot, but this is a coin toss for me, and I guess I'll take El Camino, but by the hair on their chin.
So Rancho Mirage, I keep calling them Rancho Bernard, I don't know why. They're 30-1. The only loss they have is in their championship game. Semifinals, excuse me. So this is a team that's used to winning. However, their schedule, they're kind of out there in the desert. They're kind of playing desert teams, exactly. To put it kindly. So I will take El Camino. I think it'll be a challenge I haven't seen since that game they lost a week ago. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm picking El Camino in this one. They have Rancho Mirage has a really good junior by the name of Charles Neal. Really good guard. I think ESPN has him rated as a 3-star prospect. They had one of their best players suffered another knee injury. It's his second one in 2 years. I think his name is Charles Talley, or last name is Talley. That injury is really going to play a role in this game because he's 6'7", and as we saw, El Camino could not deal with Robbie Robinson in the middle. So I'm thinking if it's a game of guards, I'm taking the seniors, Luke Arvison, Sean Burke, and Eric Pierce at home with a home crowd behind them, and I'm picking the Wildcats.
All right, moving on to the 13-4 game. This is actually a game that's happened already. It's San Marcos playing Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. I'll take it first. Like I said, San Marcos has already beaten them. Notre Dame's got a good player, though. Chibuzi Jacobs, his brother plays football. Yeah, his brother plays football at Wisconsin, good athlete, but San Marcos can beat him again, I think. Aaron, what do you think?
I agree. I'm picking San Marcos. Johnny McWilliams. I'll tell you what. We talked about this off the air a few times. If you're going to go out, go out like Captain Mifune from the Matrix Revolutions. Just go out shooting.
Go out shooting, baby.
Johnny McWilliams had 39 points in what looked like was going to be his last game of his career. But now he's got new life, and the team's reinvigorated. I'm picking them with the upset.
I'll go with San Marcos also. This is a team that maybe did not get their fair crack at it. Either they had a couple of close losses throughout the season, but when it comes down to it, this is a team that can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Lights out if they want to. And you got to think that playoffs, you're going to funnel it to Johnny McWilliams, and it'll be Johnny McBuckets all night long.
They got to get a big game from Jason Simron. He actually, he struggled in the game against Kearney. If they can get him back on track, they should win this game.
All right, moving on. Last game we're going to talk about in Division 4. It is Grossmont, the 11th seed, going to LaSalle. Aaron, what do you think?
Man, think about this. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about Grossmont sneaking into the Open Division. And they slide all the way down to Division 4, after losing Tommy Rutherford for the playoffs. LaSalle's a really good team. And what's going to hurt Grossmont in this game is the speed with which they play with. I think LaSalle does JoJo play on that team? JoJo, I want to say his name is JoJo Walker or something like that, playing for Nike South Beach AAU during the spring and summer. And I had a coach who was there watching the game. He said he was the fastest kid on the court. Now, if that speed, I don't know if Grossmont really can handle that. And without Rutherford in the lineup, it's going to be an uphill struggle. So I'm going to pick LaSalle on this one.
Unfortunately, this is exposing what we've kind of feared about Grossmont all season long, is that they are sort of a one-trick pony, that they've got Tommy Rutherford inside, who is the nexus of the universe for their offense.
Yeah.
And without Tommy Rutherford, we're going to see, unfortunately, that this is a team that is lacking that speed or that dynamic element on any other aspect of its offense. So LaSalle is going to win this one.
I will take LaSalle as well. Moving on to Division 3 now. We've got La Jolla Country Day, the 11th seed, playing at Bonita. Christian, what do you think?
Oh, it's simple. It's simple. I'm never picking against the Tories. Ever. Country Day, good on you for beating up on La Jolla and winning that game. And to all of you guys in CD Hoops Nation, I picked you initially to win. Stop giving me grief over it. No, this team showed in the playoffs that they are kind of the opposite of what we were talking about with Grossmont. They are a well-rounded offense. When you have the kind of legs that can run full court press the entire second half, when you got people that are big on the inside, when you've got this from Ryan Langborg, and then Max Gwynn and Raymond Lou and Alex Cho coming in threes, they will really establish themselves, I'm saying, with at least 2 wins in the state playoffs.
I'm going to keep it simple. La Jolla Country Day. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to pick La Jolla Country Day too. Bonita has a really good point guard, junior Joe Quintana. Saw him over the summer, was really impressive, and he's starting to get some interest from Ivy League schools. The thing I love about this Tories team is their versatility. They can play multiple styles. You want to go fast, they can go fast. You want to dump it inside, Bruce and Matt Bender, are really formidable interior defenders. This Bonita team is a fast team. I don't think they have a starter over 6'4", but again, La Jolla Country Day can match up with that. So I'm going to pick the Tories.
All right, moving on to our next matchup, still in Division 3. It's Kearney going to Edison. Is it my pick this time? Do I start this one?
I think this is
so.
yours.
Yeah, it's me. Nice. This is my turn. I'm going to go with Edison. I'll keep it short and sweet. They got a couple of juniors, Randall Walker, Nate Matthews. Smaller lineup, so Robbie Robinson might have a good game, but I still think Edison will win. What do you think?
I am picking Kearney. I'm going for the 15 to upset the 2 in the first round.
Well, this is part of what we said initially of some of these numbers look like upsets but aren't upsets.
Yes. Edison is, again, Nate Matthews is a kid who actually plays locally for AAU. He plays for San Diego-based Game Point. Really good player. Randall Walker, a very good player. But, again, from what I saw from Johnny Ortiz, Perry Davis, Dakota Brown, Joseph Davis, and a really underrated player in this game is going to be George Ramirez, the senior guard, who's a young senior. He doesn't turn 18 until like October. He locked Sean Burke down for most of the game. Frustrated him into one of Sean Burke's worst games of the senior year. Their guards match up with Edison's guards. And they have the experience from going up to Orange County last year and getting their teeth kicked in by Canyon in the first round. They're not going to allow this to happen again. They are composed. They are playing with a higher level of maturity than they have at any point of Dakota Brown's career. Kearney, I'm picking the Comets.
I'm going to go with the Comets. I'm
Let's
done
go.
sleeping on the kids. I was thoroughly wrong about them. What we saw early in the season maybe led to some questions of, do they really efficiently have what it takes to move the ball and score against a really good team? Because it's one thing to win early season matchups by 70. It's another thing to win a state game. We saw that. They answered all those questions when every single player was getting in on the action in that finals game. Dakota has the athleticism to mess with anybody and elevate the rest of his players. If they get 3/4 of the performance they got from Johnny Ortiz and Robbie Robinson, they will do just fine.
And by the way, just like you said, this game should not happen. CIF 15 seed Kearney, they just won the Division I championship.
Good for them. Get the Kearney kids motivated so they can be winning state titles as a 15 seed and just come back next season ranked even lower somehow.
All right, moving on from 3 to 2, we're going to start with the number 11 Mission Bay going to Santa Margarita. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to pick Santa Margarita. They've got 4 guys 6'7" or over that are all really, really good. Jordan Guess is the first one that comes to mind. A freshman by the name of Jake Hyman, whose parents were volleyball stars, and he's one of the more athletic kids you'll see. And then they've got a big 6'10" kid in the middle by the name of Idris Jackson, who's really good. Not to mention they've got very good guard play. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Mission Bay, and I want to talk about the career that Justin Morris had at Mission Bay. If he goes out this game, we've got to just pay homage to what he's done since his sophomore year. He didn't get to play his freshman year. 3 years, 3 all-league selections, 2 all-CIF selections. Justin, congratulations on a great career. Tulane is getting one of San Diego's finest, but I'm picking Santa Margarita for this one.
We've seen kind of feast or famine from Mission Bay this year. We've seen some really, really good games. We've seen some really, really forgettable games. What this is going to come down to is, can the senior do something special? If he can dig up something from his bag of tricks, maybe. Other than that, I got to lean kind of against Mission Bay. I just don't think that they have the firepower needed to pull off a 7-spot upset in the playoffs.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Santa Margarita. Moving on, we're going to go to 12, Army-Navy going to 5, Orange Lutheran. I will start this one off. Orange Lutheran has a bunch of really, really, really good players. Chris Williams is a junior.
Yeah.
Kevon Scott, who's got some Division I offers from Ivies and other stuff like that. And Zach Jervis, another good player, is probably going to end up somewhere in the Division IIIs. I will take Orange Lutheran. Aaron?
I think this is a repeat. I think Orange Lutheran and Army-Navy played in January, and it was actually a really close game in the 4th quarter. But as we've seen throughout the year, Army-Navy's lack of depth hurt them down the stretch. They ended up losing 67-61, I want to say. It was a fairly good game. Same thing is going to happen right here. You named some really good players. Kevon Scott is, he's a beast in the paint. And he may be one of the few guys that's athletic enough to bother Aziz Sek. Again, this is going to come down to Army-Navy just not having the depth to really, get over the hump against a really quality team. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick against them.
You say depth, I say foul trouble.
Yeah.
If Army-Navy can stay out of foul trouble, that depth doesn't hurt them as much.
Yeah.
It's when Polanco or Sek gets 2 or 3 early on in the game that they run into trouble. If you get this late into the game, Connor McClure will set up an offense and move that ball around to the right guys at the right time.
Okay.
If Army-Navy can go into halftime with 2 or less fouls on all their players,
all bets are off.
All bets are off. Army-Navy can win this. If they go into halftime with 3 fouls on anybody, I say game over. Army-Navy is going to lose it. So if I had to pick one outright, I guess I'd go with Orange Lutheran just because we've seen the precedent set of foul trouble being an issue for them. Mm-hmm. But if you stay out of foul trouble, all bets are off, as you said.
Okay.
All right, 14-3 game. It's Paraguay going to Los Alamitos. Aaron, what do you think?
2 words, Yasu Worku, Los Alamitos wins.
I mean, I had to bet some hyphens in there, but I will also go with Los Alamitos. I think Poway has had a great season, but they are up in the big boy matchups, and this is a bracket that I think across the bracket will play out how it's seeded.
I agree with you. We're going to UCI if you want to see him play next year. He's a good player. I'll take Los Alamitos. Moving on to Division I, Christian, we'll start with you. Torrey Pines, the 9th seed, going into Inglewood, the 8th seed.
Inglewood.
Torrey Pines.
Hey.
Give it my boys. Give it the Falcons, man. Give it my boys. I think that they have an unbelievable balance of talent. Maybe they are minus that one marquee dunker.
Yeah.
Gilliam's got the inside moves. He just doesn't show it by dunking to the point where there's a warrant out for your arrest, like Brandon McCoy. But I think Torrey Pines is perhaps the most well put together, even balanced team in the county. So I think they will give teams fits in the playoffs. Yeah.
I'll take the Falcons as well. Aaron, what do you think?
I think this comes down to coaching. And if it comes down to coaching,
Coach
I'm
Olive.
picking John Olive.
Hell yeah.
All day. So I'm saying the Falcons pull out a close one and stun the hometown Sentinels.
All right, moving on to the next game in Division I. There's only 2 in Division I for San Diego schools. It's Saints going to Centennial. Centennial has beaten and lost Foothills Christian already, so we have seen them a little bit in San Diego. They also beat Archbishop Mitty, who Saints lost to, so I'm going to go with Centennial. Aaron, what do you think?
Centennial, I think that this is kind of one of those games where there is a real mismatch in terms of what teams do well and what teams don't do well. Centennial has 2 really elite level defenders in the post, in Ike Agabongu and Jalen Hill, who are both going to UCLA and both play for the Compton Magic AAU program. We've seen that Saints really don't have, while Tayshawn Cherry has had an amazing sophomore year, that's one, big guy going against 2. And I think that plays out, in Centennial's favor.
Absolutely. Centennial will win this one. Saints has had some good players, but not a good team all season long.
It's been weird.
They always pass the eye test. You look at them, you say these should be really good players. They just, for whatever reason, have not been clicking as a full unit together. When you lose to Cathedral 3 times in 1 year, you know it's not a marquee year for Saints.
All right, so moving on to the open division. So we only got 2 teams from San Diego in there, but it's going to be good. We're going to start with the 5-4 game. It's a repeat again. It's Foothills going up to Mater Dei. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm picking Foothills Christian. They went up, obviously they played in the Nike Extravaganza, held at Mater Dei, and Foothills had the worst game of its season. And I think only lost by 8 or 9 points. You have to think that they're not going to have a repeat performance.
No.
I think TJ Leaf is going to come into this game with a really big chip on his shoulder, but I think the key to this game is going to be Luis Salgado. I think if he can knock down shots like he has, all season, which he didn't do in that Mater Dei game, I think not only do they win, but I think they win convincingly. So I'm going to pick Foothills Christian.
Absolutely. You mentioned Salgado draining shots. Part of, to me, what was so impressive about the finals against Cathedral was that they did almost all of that with Amaje Smith on the bench with 4 fouls. And
yes,
so when you've got a team like that that's clicking at the right time and can do all of this with Amaje on the bench for most of the game, you got to say, look out, Mater Dei. This could have very easily been flipped and been a home game for Foothills. So you got to think that the only way is if somehow the transportation ends up being like a huge factor, like they get on a really rickety old bus and they're bouncing up and down for 2 hours to get to Mater Dei. No, it's going to be Foothills Christian.
So I picked against them when they played the first time. I picked against them in the playoffs.
It's okay,
so
man.
it shouldn't come as a shock that I'm going to pick for them this time.
Oh, there we go.
Foothills Christian.
Welcome to the bandwagon, Tommy.
I am awoken. I'm woke. I don't know. I'll pick.
You got your 5 hour. You're alert.
Yeah,
you're ready to go.
I am alert, ready to go. So the last game we're going to talk about, it's the team that played Foothills in the finals. It's number 7 seed Cathedral going to Sierra Canyon. Christian, what's yours?
Sierra Canyon, you look at that 2 next to the name, and that's a very impressive seed, and they are very high. It's going to come down to, as you said, the supporting cast of Cathedral Catholic who shows up. Is it going to be McCoy and nobody?
Yeah.
Is it going to be McCoy and one person like we saw Austin Beach in the finals? Or is it going to be McCoy and a full cast of supporting characters?
Yeah.
If Reed Johnson, if Beach, if a couple of people can get involved, Cathedral can fight their way into this game. If they just fall back to the we force it into McCoy, he's got to get us points.
Yeah.
Eventually they're going to find themselves just without the firepower to win this game. So I'm going to go with Sierra Canyon, but it's going to be, depending on who shows up for Cathedral Catholic, will sway this game massively in one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sierra Canyon as well. Cody Riley, Remy Martin, Davari Ramsey, 3 very good players for Sierra Canyon. And the best player at that school is not allowed to play this year. So if, can you only imagine, they were the 2 seed already, and they're missing one of their guy who would have been their main guy. So I'm going to take Sierra Canyon. Aaron, final word.
I'm gonna pick Sierra Canyon. They've got a lot of weapons. We talked a little bit about before, teams coming in and there being certain mismatches and things like that. I think that Brandon McCoy does have an advantage in terms of being 7 feet when going against Cody Riley. But I think just the weaponry that they have along with Cody Riley, Remy Martin, talk about Davari Ramsey, who's a Nevada commit. They've got a lot of players, Terrence McBride, who can do some damage. For Cathedral Catholic to have a chance, their supporting cast has to step up. And I'm going to call out one guy, Javon Figueroa, who really hasn't had a strong game during these playoffs. He needs to step up big time for Cathedral Catholic to have a chance. He's their best defender on the ball at guard, and I think he needs to have a breakout game for them. But I'm still going to pick Sierra Canyon.